Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're all having a great short week with the holiday. Do you love a short week? I know I do. Yeah, we're not, obviously, tea is not open on the 4th, so this is our Thursday/Friday. Whitney.
Woo!
It is
We're
our
gonna party with lots of food tomorrow.
Well, today we have
Yes.
the potluck today.
True.
So I brought extra. I've got you covered, Whitney, for the potluck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We've got Minnesota and sunny, hot North Carolina. I think you left off humid too, from what I know from being there. Probably a little humid too. Good morning. Good morning. Happy 4th to everyone. Yeah, yay to a short week, right? It'll make next week seem really long because you've got to go back for 5 whole days again. So love a short week. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys all maybe found a deal or retirement item that was fun for you. I know there was several things that I wanted and I got on and ordered right away. So the retirement sale is still going on. I hope some of you have your goodies. I know I picked mine up just because I work here already. I picked mine up. So that is still going on. You can still register for Stamp Joy in person. That's coming up in October. That's always fun for us to see you all and share in the crafty time. I don't have any tea, I'll tell you today, to spill. Taylor is doing, it's a little different next week as far as what's going on. I think I'm not giving anything away by just saying that she's going to give a little tour of this space that we use up here for creating. So I know I'm excited about it. They've made a few changes in progress with that coming up that are fabulous for us here that work up in the studio. So you must join her next Tuesday at 10 a.m. It'll be fun. Let's see. Oh, thanks. They're not little cocktails. That's so cute. April says that she loves my top, and she said it looks like little cocktails. I don't know what they are. I thought they kind of looked like little ginkgo leaves, but I love the idea of cocktails with a 4-day weekend coming up. And someone else, Lori, says her order is coming in today. Welcome from Dallas and Texas. Welcome. Taylor just came back from Texas. So yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today I'm going to talk about the free with $100 purchase product that's new this month. So I might just switch you down. Good morning. Perfect for Susan. Thanks. They called me out on the whole cocktail thing. I do love a good signature cocktail. I don't like overly sweet, but I do like to go out for a nice meal and have something that's unique and citrusy. So she's not wrong. It's very true. Perfect for me. Hopefully this weekend I'll have some. I know my husband's birthday is July 4th. I know when Taylor did her live on Tuesday, someone else chimed in and said their birthday is on July 4th. So isn't a holiday like that? That's probably the only holiday you really want to share would be July 4th because you always have it off. You're not really competing with anything else. It's halfway through the year as far as presents go. I think it's brilliant. So yeah, so we're celebrating my husband's birthday, and I know we get to go out for a nice meal. So I hope you guys all have big, fun, hopefully relaxing plans for the July 4th weekend. So, well, let's get into the whole July $100 freebie. Swap you down here. These are the cards I created. I don't know if you guys got to see a sneak peek of my cards or not. I was a little late with sharing them with our people that uploads things to our Facebook and stuff like that. So I was on vacation last week, so getting back into the swing of things, I was a little behind. So this was my fun thing that I had fun messing with, the new $100 freebie called Bitty Bouquets. And it is a large background stamp. It's A2 size, so it's just a little over an A2 size panel that it creates, and it stamps the stems for you, and then you can add, with 2 different layers of a stencil, the little blossoms. Here, let me see if I can make that show better. Maybe I can't. I don't have any full sheets of paper with me. that doesn't really work great. But the blossoms, which I think are super cute because they kind of remind me of daisies, and I love daisies. Thank you. You guys are all still chiming in. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, a gift with $100 purchase, and that does work with if you guys are shopping the retirement sale. So it's like a double bonus, right? And then you have the little centers for the flowers. So you get both. I love like 4 and 5 layer stencil sets, but when it comes to stripping it down to something like this, I see it as a bonus because this is when I like to grab my paste, anything that you can put through a stencil. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. That's what we're going to mess with. And I mean mess because I am going to get a little pasty. So yeah, thank you for all the awesome comments about my cards so far. I'm not going to make them all, and we are going to go with a new color, but I will share with you all the colors. So let's get into at least sharing the colors with you to start. I'm going to do a little bit of this one today, but we'll start with some of the colors. This background cardstock is our saltwater taffy. And the other color is Tropical Punch. So if you want the 2 cardstock colors, obviously besides Sugar Cube and Pineapple, which is the go-to yellow for me right now. Whenever we get Banana Cream Pie back in stock, that's another go-to yellow for me. And the leaves here are Spearmint, but I will repeat that because I'm going to do a very similar thing on purple today. But those are the colors that I used there. And then the paste that's through the middle is our Happy Medium, our iridescent glitter, which I think should be in everyone's stamp room because it's so versatile. So that's that one. If you want colors, I guess I didn't do the centers. I didn't tell you that. I don't have ink pads for all my colors, but the centers on that one are Mango. And then the stems are Spearmint, if that helps at all for anyone that likes to take the screenshots. That is that one, and we will get into how to use that and the dies I'm going to use with it today. This one is a little more involved, and I'm not going to make this one, but it's basically the same thing as what we're going to make today, just on its side. This one I did rainbow, and I do have some caveats of what I would love to change in the future if I would remake this. The first change I would make is I would not have any green through the middle, because where Banana Cream Pie and my Tropical Punch overlap, they would make green, and with the stems being green, I think it's too redundant. So that's the first change I would make, but when I was done, I was good with it. The other thing is I used dragon fruit up here, but dragon fruit, for some reason, when you put our Happy Medium iridescent over it, almost gets a little neon. Can you see that? So I got rid of most of it. I would definitely use Lollipop. So my suggested color combo would be Lollipop, Sweet Potato Pie, I'm going to say Mango, and then skip the green, do Cookie Monster, and then Dried Fig. So that's the color combo I would use if I did it over again. But when I was all done and it was dry, I was like, it's pretty, but that's what the changes that I would make. If you like this really hot pink, that is dragon fruit. It just gets really bright for some reason, which is fun for its, in the right text or whatever you want it for. And then when I came back in, the green stems are Pea Pod, which is what I used for the leaves. And then again, this is, I would use Cookie Monster through here. I believe I used Blue Raspberry, but then I like the Cookie Monster around the side. Blue Raspberry can get a little deep, so I went ahead and put Cookie Monster, and then this is Pineapple, and of course our Sugar Cube. But this, I just took those layers and I just kind of went the rainbow over each layer. So I had to repeat it when I did the centers as I went with each color. And just go ahead and let your yellow overlap with whatever blue or turquoise you use, and you'll get green, but just a little bit of it so it doesn't take over, because I feel like I have a lot of green with the stems now. But I will talk you through how to do the edge on that. So that's that one. This one is very similar to my original one. The only change up is I used Pea Pod here because for some reason I didn't love the spearmint, and I accidentally went ahead and did spearmint leaves on this one, but I would of course use Pea Pod in the future, but I think it looks okay. But the flowers are white, and I used our Tailored Expressions white snow paste, and I let that dry. It is kind of a subtle look, but you can totally see it. So that's the fresh snow if you want paste through there instead of doing an ink. And the centers of my flowers are bubblegum. That's the color that I continued on with all of this. Of course, this is the checking in gingham that Taylor and I love so much. Yeah. When does the retirement sale? Stephanie, I don't have a specific answer for that. It's all while supplies last on that stuff. So if there's something that hangs around after this week, it could hang around. But once it's gone, it's gone. So if there's something you really, really want, I would jump on that. I did myself. I don't know if it's out of stock. There was a die that I wanted, and I did order it on Tuesday. So yeah. But back to this, the other thing that I didn't tell you is all of the sentiments I'm using are from All Together Note of Thanks or All Together Happy. So whichever one, that's what I'm using for happy occasions, I guess it's called. That is the sentiments I'm going to be using today. But again, this one is the fresh snow, but with the pink is the bubblegum, and this main card base is cupcake. So I kind of today really wanted to showcase how fun it could be to use colored cardstock. I think a lot of times, even for myself, when I first started, I reached for sugar cube, and that's why I started with this one, and I do really like it. But as I pondered it, I was like, this is an opportunity to really enjoy our colored cardstock and start with that instead of always starting with the sugar cube. So that's what we're going to talk about. Set those aside. They won't go far though. All right. First things first, what the color combination that I want to use is more purple. So we're going to use Plum Punch and Lavender Glaze, which are two colors we've had around for a while. And I swear, I'm not sure, I know a while back Plum Punch was out of stock, maybe. It's coming. It's coming, I swear. Coming soon to a Tailored Expressions near you, right? So the first thing we're going to start with is I want to stamp. I think the easiest way to use this stamp and stencil is to start with my stamp. I think I don't even know that you could start anyway. Let's rephrase that. This is the way you have to start. So we're going to grab a little bit of my favorite. I think this is a must-have in your stamp room, is the Easy Dots, the temporary. I use them so much. I'm going to use them twice today. Once for in my Misty, and I will use them in a minute when I'm assembling the card. I do have to get that black foam out of my Misty, being we're using red rubber. So we'll go ahead and adhere that down. I'm going to move that black foam out of the way. And actually, I'm going to pick this back up because the way I like to do it is to put my stamp down here, and then I take, and it does have a little bit, this is cut down to A2, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I went ahead and just set it on there so I can see a little bit of the bottom of the stems so I know they're straight, and then left to right. That way I just know the whole thing is kind of centered, because on my finished card I do see that this is centered, if that is important to you. To me it is, so I kind of like keeping that panel right in the middle so that then this pattern is repeated and I only have 3 of these here. I'm cutting off a half in the next row. It just kind of is really appealing to the eye. So I will lay that on there centered. And if you want to do more than one, you can either clean it, or something I've done in the past is I'll take a pencil and mark where my next A2 has to go if I want to do mass production. I'll just mark the 4 corners off. Okay? If that helps you. I'm only going to do one today, but, and then my base color for both this one and the aqua colored card was Spearmint. Do you know the next combo? Do you mean, Debbie, are you asking about the next combo club video? They will be sent middle of the month. I had to take my bracelets off. I don't know if it's driving you crazy. Didn't want it to drive you crazy, so took those off. July 11th, so next Friday, I do know because I happened to ask Taylor this exact question yesterday. So next Friday is the next video for Combo Club, if that's what you're asking. I didn't know if you're asking ship date. We usually shoot for the middle of the month. But yep, I did just ask Taylor that yesterday, so I know. Yep, so next Friday, join us next Friday. So if tomorrow's the 4th plus 7 would be the 11th. I believe that's what Charlie might have chimed in already. So that's our background. Again, do you see that I have this leaf? This is, I always teach this. Apologize if you've heard me say it a million times. A lot of times people's first reaction is to just go re-ink and try to stamp again. But then you're going to have a light spot here and these other leaves are going to be darker. So I can tell that the ink is still sitting over there. I just must have not pressed well enough. So I'll just get right in there and press that area, and now I have a perfect stem. You could restamp this. I chose not to, because I will say then it's also like you're getting double the effect of that color, and I really liked the spearmint to be just a little bit lighter. Let's see if there's a little bit of ink on that one. Okay. I liked this just the way it was, like that. So we'll set that aside for now. So that's our base with our red rubber stamp, which is my favorite because it stamps so well. So here I'm going to use this again. This is my favorite way to hold my stencils down and keep them in place. And then we'll line up. The cool part about this stencil set is it has etchings in it. I don't know, can you even see that? Try to tip it. They're getting a little stained. It has etchings in it for the stems. And it also has the same etchings in it for the centers. So kind of up to you if you want to do the stems or the petals or the centers first. I don't know why. I always just choose the petals first, probably because they're exciting. So I'll line that up. And I do have a little bit of my temporary adhesive on the back of my cardstock. Set that down. And then while I'm at it, I will grab a little bit of tape. If I had been thinking ahead, I should have pulled that off ahead of time. A little bit up here. All right. I forgot, what's the guess? Oh, the add-on for Combo Club, is that what we're asking about? I missed it, sorry. What ink color on the lavender glaze? Plum Punch. Thank you. Someone's keeping up on their journal. I feel like I need someone to just, I don't know, somehow make a copy of it and then I'll take it, because I don't even keep track of my own lives. So, well, thank you. I'm glad I explained things well. I appreciate that. And I appreciate knowing that, because I'm sure sometimes my kids think I over-explain. So this is Plum Punch. And again, that is lavender glazed cardstock that I started with. And we will blend all over. Oh, guess what? I've been telling you this, the saga of me reorganizing my stamp room, and I am super close to the end of the line, but I finally decided the other day it was time, and I bought my glass board like this. I got the big one. I'm so excited. The funny part is this little ink, the glass board buddy, is really what pushed me over the edge, because I had a glass board that was not magnetic, and I had our mini TE one too, but that was it. I was like, I have to have this thing to keep my stamp pad in place while I am blending, and I am so excited. I just got it. I think it's a week ago now. So for me, it's like Christmas, but I did it because I had gotten a $100 like MasterCard gift card thing, and I thought, I'm just happy birthday to me. So I purchased it. At least my little gift card helped me out a little bit with getting there. So I'm excited. I say I'm to the point in my life I don't want to collect stuff that I don't need. So I had an avenue to get rid of the old one, and I am loving the new one. I haven't gotten to make a card yet, but I figured I was close enough, and I just really wanted to give myself a little bonus. I thought it was a good birthday present to myself, right? I love the buddy too. Sorry, I'm double checking that I'm not missing anything. Yep, You are right. EC's is on it. Thank you. It was Spearmint were my stems. Lavender Glaze was the cardstock. And now I am ink blending with Plum Punch. Which there's a gal that works here in marketing, Maggie. Plum Punch is literally her favorite color. So, fun. All right, the next color for the centers, I'll just leave that there for the time being, is Mango. But I do want to clean up a little bit before we get to the Mango because that purple does not play well with yellow. And I'm going to set this aside. I do need to clean it so that we can move on to our pastes in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to peel it up, reuse my tape, set this aside dirty. I'll just take, I have a little bit of alcohol on that for cleaning up. All right, we'll grab our centers. Again, we can see the etchings on those stems to line that all up. And I'm going to use a very light hand of Mango. If you're heavy-handed, you might want to kind of do a test like on the back of your cardstock or something with, because I will often flip these over and put a little color back there so I can see how the cardstock color and the ink color play together, because they do kind of change a little bit. Because I thought pineapple got a little dirty kind of looking on me, so I was happier with the Mango, but I would say a lighter hand of it because a little of Mango goes a long way. It's a strong color. It has a strong personality, let's put it that way. I like how this one came together. So yeah, I agree with the purples. So we'll come in with our Mango for the centers. I did try with these little petals, back to the petals at least, kind of doing two-tone, because I know one of the samples that Jill Hawkins made, that's up on the website under the $100 freebie, she must have done a really good job getting in there and making her petals look two-toned. They're so small. I found it a little hard, so I just went with paste instead. Lots of people love purple. Nope, I just need it in a specific way, and I'm more the plum purple than the jelly donut purple. Nothing wrong with jelly donut, it's just we don't hang out too much. I like the plum punch quite a bit. So I'm gonna peek and see if I like my yellow. I do. I don't want to add more. I just want to double check. Every once in a while you get where you might have missed left, right. If you're ever, before you pull up your stencil, kind of check your edges, because I feel like if I miss coloring something in, it's usually around the edge. So I don't know about you. So pick this up. And then we'll clean up again, and we will add, we're gonna die cut the edge. That would be my recommendation to you. I'm gonna show it to you both ways, but my recommendation would be to cut this curved end first. If you think about it and you remember it, I would definitely do that first if you think of it. So let's get our isopropyl alcohol, clean this up. So we're not grabbing any of that. Okay, so we've got that cleaned up. Now I'm gonna take our dies. These are the Easy Edgers border dies, and they come with matching pieces, so you can use these three together, these two together. I don't know why I didn't use this one, because I absolutely love the hashi marks, but I was in a scallop. Maybe it's because the flowers were just talking to me, but I'm gonna go and take the solid of the curved edge and do this first. What I like to do is, you all know I like rulers. Taylor would probably eyeball it, but you know me and rulers. I'm going to measure 1 1/8 inches up from the bottom, because this will make sure my edge is even left to right. If I measure and I set my die on there, it will look not wonky, not offset. So I'll do 1 1/8 and 1 1/8. And I love this ruler because you get all the little squares are 1/8. So it's not hard. It's not a hard one to see and guess. So Oh, Carol says she's never used her easy edgers. This, I swear, measuring it, this makes it so much easier. Another fun thing is I put this card panel. You don't have to do this, but I just thought it really does make it easy to make sure you're straight. And I'm going to show you how to use the second part and make it straight and really easy too. I like to use this glass board. I think this is also on the smaller one, but I put it right in that A2 panel, and I've already marked the 1 1/8 and 1 1/8. I need to double check that because the one side looks higher to me. Nope. Nope, it's right. So I'll grab some tape. And the other thing is, if I lay this just above that tick mark, because I don't want to erase that tick mark, but can you see how this outermost 6x6 square, I can see that my edger die is touching on either side of that. So I know I have the same amount of space here and the same amount of space here. So this should be even left to right. Does that make sense? I don't know, it was a happy accident. I don't think, design these to be 6x6. Just the other day when I had it laying on there, I was like, oh, it's even. So now I know I'm the same curvature left to right on this card. So we'll go ahead and put our die down, tape it. So that makes it perfect instead of eyeballing it, which works. But for me, I love to measure and know that that's in place because I've had too many times where I've gone, hey, wait, that doesn't look quite right to me. So, and I think it makes a difference. So we'll grab my die cut machine. I might leave my die cut machine on our table just for a minute so that we can do the second part. I won't go far with it. Oops, don't do this. Do you see? I almost did that. Being this is 6x6, this die is 6 inches wide, and our opening to our Sizzix is 6 inches. Make sure every bit of that die is in there. I had mine kind of hanging off. So you don't want to ruin your die or scratch your machine, right? So that is the bottom of that. I'm not going to go very far with our die cut machine because I've got it close. Let's just set it over here for a second. Then to get that second part of the die, we're going to grab the one that coordinates with it. I need that tape. Grab the one that coordinates with it and one of our top folding A2 cards. So 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And we're going to take some of this temporary adhesive that I love to use so much. Set this on here because we want this line and this line to meet up the same. So what I like to do is open up my card base, and I will just take the die because I've temporarily put this here. I know it's going to be right there, and we will line it up underneath. And I'm also looking at this scallop. I've got 2 scallops on this side and 2 scallops on this side. And then I'm just going to take some tape that in place because that is going to cut off the bottom portion here of this card. Let me hold that up for you. But I'm not doing any fancy measuring with this part. All I'm doing is laying the die there so that I know it's in place. Does that make sense? I'm trying to give myself a little bit of white space from the lavender glaze. The reason why is there's a stitch that runs right along here, and it's just pretty to be able to see that extra stitch. So let's make sure my tape is in place. We will remove this. You could, I suppose, leave it on. I just also, you know how the top piece of your top cutting plate can sometimes mar your cardstock? I don't want that. So again, make sure my die is in place so I'm not ruining the die or my machine. Make sure it's centered in there. And that will give me the perfect, so take that off. That gives me the perfect edge that coordinates with this then. So the only real measuring was to measure this off, and then I just lay the die on it. So perfect. Easy? I don't know if we've ever done that on a live. I'm gonna, for the second card I'm gonna put together, I think we'll do it with we'll use the hash one. I don't know why today I decided not to use it. Let's save our tape for now. Okay, get that out of the way. This we do want to put, and you know what? Let's see if that works. We're going to go ahead and glitter this with our happy medium. So let me clean this up. Because sometimes I like to salvage the happy medium. And if you leave ink on your stencil, you're just gonna dye that happy medium with whatever color you used. So you won't be able to put it back in your jar. But if you clean up your stencil, you can salvage some of that ink. I'll double clean it just because that plum punch is strong. Strong personality, as I said. Oh, thanks. I think Charlie's taking care of that. All right, so let's grab this, put that down. We'll put this in place right back where it was. And you guys know whenever I use paste, my biggest rule is to have a hinge. So make sure my etching for my stencil's up and then have a hinge so that I can pick up my stencil this way when I'm all done. You can put one on the bottom or whatever, just make sure across the top you have a bit of a hinge for that. So we'll grab our iridescent glitter happy medium. Always keep these white lids on everything, whether you're using our glitter grab or our fresh snow, any of them, just make sure you save that. So whatever palette knife you like to use, this one by Nuvo happens to be my favorite. I can't knock it, I can't stop. It's what I started with. So, and then I just put a little bit on. I don't get too crazy with my glitter happy medium. Put some down, try to save whatever I can. I will put that whatever's on my palette knife back in. That's the other thing I do, is I try to make sure my paste gets down in my jar a little bit. And then you can use whatever your favorite scraper is. I know there's the cute little teal one, that's silicone. I still have the old one that I love so much. And then that way, which I don't have a ton, I can put this back in the jar. Put the lid on, make sure you save that top. And again, you do want to wipe off your stuff or throw it in a bucket of water, which I have a bucket of water for the stencil, but it's kind of habit for me to clean up my tools because I usually need them again. So again, this is the reason why I want the hinge. And it could be, you might be left to right or open it the other way, however you like to open it. I just like to make sure my stencil is held steady, and my cardstock obviously already, while I peel this up. If you've ever had, or you've noticed your paste, like something got pushed or out of place or even kind of wiped off, a lot of times it's because the stencil kind of comes back like this as you pick it up, and then it scrapes things off. So this is going in water. I will throw out my teal tape now because I don't want it to, I don't want that paste on anything else. So this will have to set aside to dry. Right now we don't have a ton of humidity in Iowa, so it might take maybe an hour. But that's why yesterday ahead of time I went and did one that's dry. I had this thought of, are they the same to fit on the next card? Because normally I set that die on there. Oops. But I think it'll be fine. So we'll set that one aside to dry. I'm going to grab my baby wipe to wipe that up a little bit so we don't have any paste on anything. And then we'll build our card. After I have the paste wiped off, I do like to, the rubbing alcohol just is dry. If I just use the baby wipe, I would have a little moisture on my glass board, and I don't want that. So this is, let's see if this one fits, because being as I did this one and cut the, oh, it is, it's good. It's probably because I measured up 1/8 that everything's kind of landing the same, right? Through the magic of TV. I love that, EC. Absolutely. That's my favorite. I don't know. I grew up, this is ridiculous, but I grew up watching Martha Stewart when she had a show where she was cooking in the kitchen and stuff. And I always thought it was fun how she'd put one cake in and then open up another oven and pull out a done one. I always say through the magic of television and the magic stove. So we'll put a little glue on the back of this. Yeah, I don't know. What? I know Taylor talked food with you guys the other day. Our biggest thing is just to kind of go watch the fireworks. We like to find our spot. We play games in the car. I don't know this year. I got to figure out if we're going to have snacks or anything in the car. Got to figure that out fast because that's tonight. So something. A good Target run or Walmart run will take care of that for us. So let's put that down on there. And then whatever works down here on the bottom, this one, I left white on the side, which I think is fine. This one with the rainbow, and there's just a lot going on. I decided white seemed like it was better on my eyes. But these two I did different. Like this one is our checking in background, and this one is our new polka chic. So again, through the magic of television, I took Plum Punch cardstock with Plum Punch ink on that polka chic, and I stamped that. And I don't need this much of it, but I thought if I stamped an A2 size, I could cut several of my 1.5 strips out of that. So I did that yesterday just so you didn't have to watch me stamp a background. I figured we all knew how to do that. Let me grab my trimmer, and I'm just gonna do 1.5 inch, which I'm gonna do it from this side. Same way with my polka chic. I do try to be very careful with that my polka dots are running straight. That's important to me. See, and then I can just use this for my next card, my extra. I did 1.5. If you wanted a little less, you could go down to 1.25, because if you remember, I measured up 1.125. So if you wanted something a little bit less, so you had more room to write, you could go down to 1.25, and that would work there too. But I thought it kind of highlighted and brought the outside of the card to the inside of the card a little bit. Ooh, barbecue, that sounds awesome. April's doing s'mores over the... Has anyone ever done... I'm not big on s'mores because I'm not a huge chocolate fan, and I'm not a huge marshmallow fan, so go figure. But has anyone, a friend of mine did this for us one time, where they put Reese's peanut butter cups instead of Hershey's bar in their s'mores. It's, if you like peanut butter, it is legit. It's yummy, but it is rich, that's for sure, because they use the regular size. So I do love a toasted marshmallow. That is yummy. So, oh, family. I love all the family and vacation. And how awesome is it that it's on a Friday? That's great. I don't know. I watched Martha Stewart all the time, but she always had 20 steps to a cake mix, or a cake that probably should have had 5. I always thought she did everything a little big, but it always made for yummy food, right? So there's that. Then the next thing is, I'm going to show you, let's turn my mink on and let's foil. I just love foiling. I think these are one of the best things we've done for sentiments lately. I love that I can get all these things, because I've always loved all of our easy or simple strips and mini strips for sentiments, but this gives you a whole bunch really easily. So like this one with the thanks, we also sell the foilet for it. So here's what's cool is our foilets, if you are not into using the mink and you just like a good crisp black sentiment, these are all ready to go for you. All you have to do is die cut them and you're done. And for the price point, I think it's great because this is printed on our sugar cube cardstock, and so you know it's going to be great, right? So let's grab, but today I'm going to go ahead, being as I can, and I do foil, I'm going to grab our champagne, which you all know is my favorite, and I just think it goes really pretty with the sparkles that are in my flowers and the yellow in the centers, the mango that's in the center of my flowers. So let's go ahead and do that. I just love how many extras this makes, especially if you're going to do several of these or you just want to have extra ready to go. Oh wow, we just went next level. I love those Unreal chocolate coconut bites. I love those things, April. That's funny that she brings that up. The company is called Unreal, and it's more like simple ingredient food, and I love coconut, so you have to love chunky texture of coconut. I love those things. I never thought about putting them on a s'mores. That might just be awesome. Well, April says it is, so there's a whole bunch of things for you guys to try if you're doing a campfire, or if you're just somewhere that is too hot, maybe just roast them in the oven. So we're gonna put our magic shim and our carrier sheet in with our thanks foilet, and then with the dull side of our champagne foil touching the toner sheet. We will grab our mink, pull this in as far as my cord will let me. Send this through. Ooh, now we're talking. A s'mores dip toasted marshmallow. Ooh, that sounds yummy. In Bailey's or Kahlua, which I wouldn't be opposed to either. Don't you? And then the next comment is Sarah saying how much she loves these sentiment dies. I do too. It's even kind of fun. We've got the little extras that are thrown in here or there just to kind of make it a little more useful. Run that through. Again, I'm using champagne, which I just love. Yeah, I believe that was, maybe I'm wrong, Yeasties. Now I'm questioning myself. Because the bag, I've bought other things by Unreal, and I thought that was the company name. So, I don't know. Maybe this is just their slogan. I could be wrong, but yeah, I do love them, though. I know exactly what she's talking about. I also love that Unreal is if anyone else's family has a dairy issue like my family does, like those are, I believe, or I know I've gotten stuff in the past, like I get my girls these M&Ms from Unreal. They're not an M&M, but they're chocolate covered, but they're dairy free. So I do try to let my foilets cool before I peel them. Isn't that great? Beautiful. Set that extra foil aside, and then the coolest thing is that we can cut out all of these sentiments with one pass of our die cut machine. So in this, they designed it so that there's squares that just should be centered into those openings. So don't think, I almost put my head underneath the camera there, sorry. Don't think it should cover the whole thing. It kind of leaves a little halo around there. But also double check all your openings that they look right too. But the squares are to help you just kind of get things lined up. I might not bring my actual machine in here. I'm just going to run that through quick for you. Snap, crackle, pop. And that is what that whole thing, one quick pass through my die cut machine. And I have all of these, and I just love that I'm getting sub-sentiments too without extra work. They're all right there. So, like I said, I think this is one of my favorite inventions that or things that we've done with our sentiments in a while. So, let's do a note of thanks. And then we'll save that. I'm going to set that aside just so you don't have to watch me pop all the pieces out. And then I thought for the flowers, I really love a daisy, and I feel like this kind of looks like a daisy. So this fresh cut flowers has this big daisy in it. And then I took these leaves and I die cut them, but I cut them. So I took the leaves, and you can even set your cardstock up so you're not wasting, but I die cut them and then I just chopped the stem off. So I only got 3 leaves. But they're the perfect little cluster of leaves. But I used that stem, so you might be like, where's the 3 petal stem? But it's just chopped down. And then I used the daisy head, and I cut it out of sugar cube. And I have them all ready for us in my bowl through the magic television. And then this is your centers, but I really like the center that looks like the daisy the best. So I saved all the other ones with the awesome texture in them, and they're in my bowl too, but I'm not going to use them today. I'm just going to stick with the one that I think looks like the daisy head. So let's grab those. I did already glue some. Let's see, do I have a couple that are not glued? So I can save the other ones for my other card. Those little polka dot, the textured centers are very cute too. I just chose to use the one that looks more like a cone flower, I guess would be the correct name. Just really think it's cute. I love that we've gone down the campfire. So I know if we're still talking about those bars, I know I've bought them at Target before, but I don't know if they still carry them or not. Let's put the centers on that. And then the next thing that I did is I have my sentiment and I have my leaves. I'm gonna just kind of try to lay things on my card to kind of get them in the placement that I want. So I'm not gluing anything down just yet, kind of just laying things first. So I kind of like to mess with my stems and my leaves a little bit and get everything the way I want it. And then I try usually not to pick up foil with any sort of masking paper or temporary tape because sometimes it can disrupt my foil. So I'll just kind of lay things on there a little bit. Kind of want to scooch that over a little bit. Oh, I know. I'm like, why is this not coming together the same? I want this in. There we go. Just want to get my leaves where I want them for now. We'll get that out of the way. And then I love to take, I'm going to take this out of the way because I don't want and our masking paper, the TE masking paper, is so forgiving and low tack. That's what I love about it, our TE masking paper. I have just a scrap piece, and it's literally a scrap piece. We've die cut other things from it, and I'm just going to use it to pick up because I like my placement of my leaves and my stems. If I would quit bumping it, I would like it a lot better. Does anyone else get to the point where you're like, stop moving? Okay, there we go. Pick this up. I'm gonna pick it up with this masking tape. I love that it's super low tack. And then I can put glue on all 4 of these pieces. I know some people like to use press and seal and stuff like that. I just always grab for my masking paper. It works good for me. I feel like it doesn't static cling as easily either. And I do then just save it. This piece has now been used for the 4th card in a row because I made my other 3 cards with this same scratch piece of paper. So I can kind of see through to my daisies and I know where the edge of my card is. Put that down, and I could just leave it there to like hold it in place, like if you wanted to put a magnet on top of that and just have it hold everything down for a while. That absolutely works, and peel your masking paper up later. What I like to do is I've got it all down there, hold it down while I peel up my masking paper. I like to check that I'm still in love with my placement of everything, that I don't want anything moved a smidge like this. Then I'll add my magnets, but at least I have my glue there, and the gist of my situation is where I want it to be. So, oh, this die set, sorry, let me double check again. It is called Fresh Cut Flowers. It happens to be my favorite. I think it's the newer of them. And then I have my thanks that I did, and we're gonna put some foam tape on the back of that and the note of. So I'm gonna grab my scissors and a little bit of the 1/32 foam tape, which happens to be my favorite. Get some tape on the back of this stuff to pop it up while that's drying. Let's see, I want to have time to die cut that other one. I might not finish the card, but I want to show you that other edger. I just think it's so pretty. I don't know why I decided not to use it. Go. Snip, snip. here today we're doing a potluck. That's why I said to Whitney that I had her covered. And I know we have some sloppy joes. I brought some coleslaw. I thought that sounded good with it. We never have a lack of desserts around here. I think our whole office has a sweet tooth. So we are well fed at TE today. Well fed. I was gonna say, I wonder if a bunch of you actually took the whole week off. I mean, it would be a great week to have a whole week off and only have to take 4 days of vacation. If that's the case, lucky you. Set this piece aside. We'll get rid of that. I will reuse my masking paper again. Let's get some of my trash out of the way. Peel the back off of these, and I am going to have to bring in my new favorite friend in my stamp room. I can't believe it's sold out. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I'm so in love with this thing. But you know, I like rulers. Taylor always says, like, oh, she doesn't use one. I love a good ruler. I love it. And I love this Pear Blossom press because, so if you're using a horizontal, you want this on the right side. If you want to do a horizontal card, then you want to know centering and stuff, then you want this piece to be on the left side of your card. But we're going to use it on the right because I'm doing a vertical one today. And I just want to make sure my sentiment's straight. So I've got the T part, the top part of this ruler there. Scooch it up a little bit more. And then I know there's 6 letters in my thanks, and I can put this 0 right in between the A and the N. And then my thanks is centered perfectly on my card. I might go down just a smidge. I don't have it pressed yet. And then I'll get my fingers out of the way and I can show you what I'm talking about. There we go. So I've got the T straight up and down. It kind of has a little lip that can catch the edge of your card. And then the 0 is between my A and the N because I have an even number this time. Like if I had 5 letters, then I would just center it in the middle letter. But that helps me make sure my thanks is on there straight because I love a straight sentiment. And then let's grab our note of, and we'll use that towards the top here. If you didn't need the centering, you can use obviously your ruler on whichever side you want, but I do like being able to know right where the center of my sentiment is. I know these little pink dots are there to show you where the thirds of a card are, but I gotta get my big head in here, so I wanna see over top my ruler quick. There we go. I know that's what they're there for, but it also is giving me a really good placing point off of where the center is. So if you notice this little a note of fits really, really well between those 2 pink dots. So I know that that's centered and straight. Love it. I especially think centering, making sure things are straight when it comes to a simpler card. So I love it. And I don't know, it's my new best friend here in the stamp room. So there's that one, but let's see if I can take a minute to show you the teal one that I already did. And like I said, I usually like to die cut this first. I didn't do that yesterday, but being as I use the happy medium, will be fine with die cutting it. The fresh snow, if you're going to use that and get white flowers, you definitely want to make sure you cut this edge first, because the fresh snow is a little bit, can be marred. It's a little more pliable, malleable. So make sure you cut that one first. But let's do this one quick before I let you go. And I just want to show you how cool that other edger is. So again, we're going to take this and we will measure it because that's what I like to do, right? Let's put this one aside. We'll bring it back in. We'll measure up our 1 1/8. And I do put that little dash there, but I know I'm going to cut it off because I really don't want to erase it. It's funny, I already marked them. I guess I did it yesterday, but it doesn't hurt to show you again. I'll put it in that square. That's the A2 square in my middle of my glass board. Take my die, line it up, and again, I can see that the edges of my die are coming up and off. So we'll grab my tape, which I have made disappear. I've got some. Tape that in place, tape this one in place. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Again, cutting off my little notch, but word to the wise, make sure, being this is a 6-inch wide die, that you make sure it's all in place. So again, I won't go very far with my die cut machine. So that gets our first edge. Then we need our top folding card base. Let's put some glue. You know what? I want to temporarily put that down, and we will get our die. Temporarily put that down, and then just because it's fun, let's see what this one looks like. Doing the same thing. So again, I'm going to make sure it's straight underneath of there. Tape, tape. Again, you don't have to remove this, but I'm going to, and then make extra sure. The other thing to do is make sure you open up your card base. Send this through. And if you see me go back, yeah, all together, note of thanks and happy occasions are the two. So let's get my die cut machine out of the way. That one is so pretty too. I think it'll be even more pretty when I put so that you can see the contrast. We'll get that shown here so you can see it. Thanks for the tip on the fresh snow. Yeah, the fresh, I'm going to actually, if you like the fresh snow, I want to show you something while this is drying then. The fresh snow, something that Sue in our office discovered that was so cool. Let me see if I have my sample. Sorry, I'm digging right now. So I took this, and this panel is ink blended with bubblegum on Cupcake again with spearmint here. And then I put fresh snow through the centers of all those flowers, right? And then once that was fully dry, you have to wait till your fresh snow is fully dry. I put the stencil right back over the top. So mine's dirty, sorry. But I put it right back over the top while it was white and it was dry. Lined it back up, and I ink blended with mango over the top. So that's how I got raised, so can you see that they're a little bit raised, but yellow centers. So that fresh snow can be colored in a way by blending over the top. I also did try like our pigment white over the top just to make it a really crisp white. Because this is white, but I feel like it's got a hint of more of like a warm white. It's got a little gray in it. Just to kind of pop it, but make extra sure that just either you have to have a long time to dry or it just never dries. The pigment inks, the ones that are like our sugar cube, I wouldn't use them, but any of our other inks like the premium dye ink pads like mango, any of those. So mango is what I went over the top. So you can do that. Isn't that kind of fun? So just another panel that I didn't quite finish. I liked it, but I wasn't sure. I kind of really wanted to see white daisies. So that's that one. So let's grab this one, and I'm going to trim off, again, our little edge here. Forgive me if I'm out of screen. I'm just going to cut. I'm going to go to 1 1/4 this time. Just so you can see what this one looks like, so you can see the other edge. Isn't that pretty? I won't even glue it down. There we go. Let me bring my other cards in. And again, I don't have tea to spill other than join Taylor next Tuesday, and you guys will get to see a little more of the rest of this room, because right now all you get to see is this square. But if you haven't been into our studio for Stamp Joy or anything else, you haven't seen the inside of where we create and brainstorm products and stuff. So there you go. Anyway, join. So next Tuesday at 10 a.m. is Taylor, and she's going to take you through the studio. Next Thursday at 10 a.m. I will be back. And then next Friday is also Combo Club if you're a part of that club or you just want to follow along and see us for the third time in the week. But thank you very much for everyone for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Be safe